Hi. I observed that some women hide that they are single mothers on social media and dating applications. I mean, in my opinion, they can be honest up front. This will more easily filter out the guys that do not want single mothers and save everyone's time. I know it is difficult for single mothers to date, but they have to be honest and not try to hide this. Well, I guess this is also a form of catfishing. Some women do this. Best regards. Story 1. Because they think that a dude will not leave if he is not interested in single mothers, but only finds out after they have gone on a date. I would leave regardless. Starting off any relationship on a lie seems a little bad. Story 2. I always assume that by putting single mom in a profile, she has a higher chance of attracting pedophiles or creeps. Personally, I don't have kids, but if I did, I wouldn't want strangers on the internet or dating apps to know about them until I vetted their character more. Story 3. I understand initially why this could be frustrating for you. However, there is a smart reason to do this. People who are predator types purposely go after single mothers to have access to their children. I stopped listing children on my profile, but when I begin talking to someone and discern they are okay, I disclose it extremely early on. For me, it is a safety measure. I had one guy who said I was being deceptive even after I explained why I now do this. When he persisted with that, I was like, boy, goodbye. If he could not understand that and have a little empathy even when I told him within hours, I was done. He acted like we were at the level of marriage or something when we had only briefly chatted for a couple of hours. Story 4. I didn't put that I had a child on my profile for privacy and protection, but I only swiped on men who were open to children, wanted children, etc. If a profile clearly said no children, it was automatically a left swipe. When chatting, I only disclosed I had a child if we had concrete plans for a meetup, and this was prior to meeting up in real life. If the chat fizzled out, then it didn't matter either way. I've been in a relationship for 9 months with someone I met on a dating app, and they still haven't met my child. Story 5. Because smart people do not post about their children anywhere online, especially on social media or dating applications. That cute photo of your child fully dressed? Well, now it's in someone's child exploitation material collection. That baby photo in a bathtub? Yes, it's being traded online. That is how that world works. I worked in prosecuting it as an internship. People should have zero online presence until they are adults. Yes, I know that will never actually happen, and parents post way too much about their children. I'm not saying this applies to all cases regarding what you are asking, but it's another reason that is often overlooked because people don't know how the child exploitation world works. Story 6. You're asking why women do this? Because men don't want to commit to single mothers. Men have been speaking out and saying explicitly and clearly they do not want to commit to single mothers. A woman's status as a single mother makes it harder for her to get what she wants. Single mothers are perceived as selfish, irresponsible, sexually promiscuous, demanding, time poor, and cash poor, and a lot of them are. Single mothers are perceived as good only for sex and fun, never for commitment. Single mothers have no time for dating. They have to make arrangements for their kids. Men who get involved with single mothers have to deal with the children's fathers. Men who get involved with single mothers eventually have to meet and develop relationships with their kids. Men who get involved with single mothers are expected to financially support the mother's kids without disciplining them, and men don't want that. Men don't want to be responsible for children who aren't theirs, and single mothers know this. Story 7. I don't do online dating, but on the last couple of dates I went on, the women turned out to be single mothers. The thing is, they didn't disclose that until the second or third date. I'm a single father, so I don't mind, but I did find it odd. One of them gave me a convoluted reason for withholding that information. She said it was to protect her kids from strangers. But I don't see how not mentioning that you have kids actually protects them. Story 8. The same reason that conservative guys say they are moderates. Their truth is not a big selling point when swiping. They hide the reality in the hope that they can charm them long enough for it not to matter when it comes out. Story 9. Same reason obese women take top-down cleavage photos with no visible body and their head tilted up to minimize a double chin. Except, at least with that, we all know what it means. If he gets to know me, he'll overlook it. Oh, no, I just see it as disingenuous from the start. Story 10. Because their chances of getting an objectively attractive guy rise that way. Their futile hope seems to be that once they have him invested, they can reveal their family history without him immediately backing out. I find that to be unlikely. Story 11. Short answer. Because single mother is an immediate swipe left for a lot of men. Many of these women are probably used to having a lot of options on dating apps, and all of a sudden they do not have the same pick of the litter they used to. Story 12. 2 big reasons. 1. It is dangerous to alert everyone to the fact that you are a single mom. Some people are specifically looking for single moms for a reason. Child safety comes first. To cast a wider net. Either they don't want to be upfront until they feel they have clicked or locked someone down, or they are not looking for anything serious and do not feel the need to bring their children into the equation for a hookup. Story 13. Safety. If you put it out in the open that you have young children, you could attract malicious individuals. However, I think it should be mentioned in the first conversation. I understand not including it in your profile, though. Story 14. It's weird how they don't realize, with all the experiences they've had throughout their life of not being truthful with someone and it burning a bridge for them that they could have walked on. A lot of guys wouldn't mind dating a woman with a kid as long as there was a verbal mutual understanding that I'm not his dad. So don't expect me to financially support him like I'm his dad. Some guys, but not as many, prefer not to date women with kids because they don't want the kid to get attached, and kids quickly gain a likeness for adults. My mom's neighbor needed some physical labor help, so I've been at the neighbor's house for the past few days. The daughter of the neighbor lives there with her daughter as well. Although the 3-year-old girl was shy when she met me, after about 30 minutes, she warmed up to me and now greets me and wants me to play with her. Story 15. That is definitely not something that extends to just women. Do you not realize the countless number of single men who would not disclose if they had children on a dating app? I imagine some men won't mention it at all if they are not in those kids' lives. But I guess in their eyes it's better to be a deadbeat dad than to be a single mom. Story 16. They are doing it in some cases to protect their children from predators. There are men who actively seek out single mothers for access to their children. Sad fact. Story 17. I am experimenting with leaving my single motherhood off of my profile. I haven't noticed a huge increase in likes yet, but I have matched with 5 men in the past week. As soon as we start messaging, I let them know I'm a single mom. But here is the key. I have the luxury of being able to afford babysitters as much as I need to. Also, my kids are teenagers, so they do not require a lot of my time now. The reason I started to leave it off is that the apps don't have a way to explain how available a single mom can be. It's individual. Every man that I have told after we've matched that I have teenagers, but I have no issues with being available, has been completely fine with it. This might explain why women are leaving it off their profiles. They want to be able to explain their specific situation. Story 18. I know it is difficult for single mothers to date. There you go. Why do guys hide their bald spots on dating apps? Why does everyone exclusively post photos taken from flattering angles? Why is someone's only full body shot wearing multiple layers of winter clothing? Story 19. Also, men who fathered those kids should be more upfront. Like, I am 26, a software engineer from Palo Alto. I've abandoned 2 kids, one 4 and one 2 years old. Story 20. Not all single mothers are the same. Each one has a different reason, situation, and personality. I do not think you really want to know the answer because you already have one in mind and you just posted this so you can feel validated. If you were really curious, why did you not post this on Ask Women? Story 21. I also think there might be an aspect of fear to it. There are cases where men date single mothers to prey on the children. Messed up stuff. It could be a reason for them to also protect their children from people with bad intentions. Story 22. I can understand this from both sides, but I don't think it's necessary for a woman to disclose that she is a single mother on her dating applications or social media presence. However, it should be disclosed early enough before either side invests too much time, money, and energy. First date at the latest, I would think. Story 23. I'm a woman and not single or a mom, but someone on Reddit once pointed out that if you advertise you have kids, that could attract creepy people looking for women with kids specifically. I had never thought about it before, but it is one of the creepiest things I had ever come across. Not saying that's the primary reason, but perhaps it's better to disclose in the first couple of messages rather than on the profile. Story 24. I love how women are on here saying it's to protect their children from predators targeting single moms, and men are still insisting it's to get better matches. Like you asked the question, brother, is it that hard to listen to the answer from the source? Story 25. Horrifyingly, some predators are seeking financially vulnerable women in order to get access to their children. Some protective mothers are hiding the children for safety. They want to be overlooked by the creeps. It's common advice for women to not introduce their kids to a new man until things are serious, like 6 months later. This is partly to prevent premature attachments and partly to just keep the children's existence off of the dating sites. When I first got divorced, I talked to about 100 guys to find 20 worth seeing for coffee. 2 of those guys were way too interested in meeting my kid, offering to babysit, buy me things. When I made it clear I had a job and could afford rent and groceries, they were visibly annoyed. A certain percent of dudes are turned on by a woman's desperation. It was gross. Story 26. Women leave this information off their dating profiles for safety reasons. Predators seek out single women with young children specifically to gain access to prey on them. Online or app dating reasonably requires additional vetting before disclosing various things like home address, place of business, and children or their ages. Now, if you're meeting women in person and going on multiple dates before finding out they have children, that is certainly bizarre. I can't imagine any benefit on either side in withholding this information once the initial vetting process has commenced. Information refers to having or wanting children. Story 27. Because they know it's a red flag and will give them fewer matches. 4 years ago, I was on the dating apps looking for someone to have a relationship with. I found a girl who was perfect for me. We texted for a couple of days, and then randomly, she casually mentioned to me that she has a kid. A text something like this: "Oh, sorry, I was bringing my son to daycare. I just got back." Took me back immediately because, before this, any girl who had mentioned she had kids in her profile, I instantly swiped left. But, of course, I was being an idiot and thought, whatever, I'll date anyway. Well, she was great on our dates, and we started seeing each other more and then started having sex and eventually a relationship, and I became a stepdad before I knew it. It had its ups and downs, but eventually, we broke up, and a big reason was because of the ramifications of her being a single mother. After looking online, apparently this is a common tactic by women. I don't even know if they do it subconsciously or not, but they hide their kid, get you interested, then casually mention it in a passing comment and then see if they can get you. Lesson learned, though. I had a girl try the same thing on me a few months ago, and I instantly cut her off. "Hey, sorry, you seem great and all, but I am not interested in someone with kids." She must have been upset because she ghosted me after I said that, even though we were texting back and forth a lot. Oh well, better to end that right away rather than spend 3 years of your life on it. Story 28. Another reason I haven't seen so far is the potential risk involved for the child in question. Mothers, especially single moms of girls, don't want to put their child in danger. Story 29. In my opinion, they can be honest upfront. Not with all of us. You said yourself that it is difficult for single mothers to date because of the children, which answers your own question. Story 30. Single dads have been doing this too, and more often and for longer. They just do not get stigmatized for it like single moms, so one might have a better reason to hide it. Although nobody should. Story 31. Because they can see the reality. Having a kid lessens your ability to gain attraction from a man that isn't chained to the responsibility of a child. Why go after a mother if you're not a father yourself? Many women are aware and try to slowly manipulate you into staying. Also, the ones that aren't hiding anything are mostly oblivious to this and think a man should help them out on dating apps. Story 32. Because they want men to get to know them first before deciding they don't want a single mom. Just because a woman has children doesn't mean you need to get involved with them. Story 33. 1. Most guys don't want to take care of other people's children. especially if they are single and without children. The only interested men are usually ones with children already. If a woman already has a child, she might not be interested in having more children with you. If a pedophile knows that you have a child, he might get involved with you to take advantage of the situation. Story 34. You would think they would want the best for their child to have a guy who is interested in being a step-parent. There are guys out there who are okay with that, but then again, would she have chosen him if she wasn't, and the guys she wants don't? Story 35. Many women do it to protect their children. There are a lot of unsavory characters out there who seek out single mothers in hopes of gaining access to their children. Story 36. I think this is the "it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission" mentality. They know single mothers are a lot less appealing, but if they can get to know someone a little, maybe that connection will change someone's mind away from a hard pass. I understand why someone might do this, but frankly, the dishonesty is a greater issue than being a single parent, if you ask me.